There is a manual out. Dave Hodges had this on. He talked to a preacher that had the manual.
Yes, the training manual itself in writing.
So this is a state. They have it. Yes. They have it out there.
They have it.
This is 1.6 million preachers that were going to sell out their flock.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Back to you have to understand this whole. Okay,
right. This is not hearsay. This has been vetted.
Okay.
This is
I just want to make sure we got that out. That this is not some hearsay thing.
Nope. Absolutely, and he was interviewing these pastors who were involved in this. They have the actual training manuals sent out by the federal government. Now,
the Obama government, not the Trump government.
Well, it was back in Bush as well.
Bush and Obama, but this is not a Trump deal.
Not a Trump thing. This is not a Trump thing.
Okay.
So, but here's what was. But they never thought she would lose, Greg. And what they did is they offered these pastors special privileges that you would get vaccines, you would get food for your family in return for turning your flock in. Basically, they've been reporting on your flock all along. To the government, what's been going on, and again, they were to get you to give up your guns, submit to civil government, and they were going to literally lead their flock to a literal slaughter. Now, I want to know whose name's on the list, because that to me is one of the biggest forms of treason. When you cannot even trust your own pastor, are you kidding me? Now, why won't they release the list? They won't release the names. I'll tell you why they won't release the names is because they know that even when the flock finds out that their pastor has been a part of this and was willing to sell them out because they've been collaborating with the enemy, that they would lynch these guys. That's why they won't release the names.
They should go. People should go to their pastors this Sunday and say, "Were you on the clergy response team?"
They could, but they could, but they're not going to.
Put your hand on this Bible. Put your hand on this Bible and tell us you were not on the clergy response team.
That's right. They won't do it because they signed non-disclosures. But see, and this was the plan, and this is what's going to come out in the coming months, Greg, is all this information is going to come out as to what their plans were for America. And that was, again, there was going to be the roundup for the FEMA camps, but again, they never thought she would lose.
Well,
even the pastors didn't think she would lose.
But you know why they didn't? See, they knew that she was a loser. She couldn't win against Bernie Sanders, a communist, okay? They had to cheat her past her own primary. Right. And they figured they could cheat enough to get her in, which is, I think, why the polls were so off. I kept saying before the election that the polls are way off. She's never going to win. She's not going to win. Multiple people said it, but I said it from the very beginning, and the polls were way off. But you know what? I think they were off. They were off for two reasons. Number one, don't even bother to go out and vote. She's way ahead. And number two, the polls were off, so the cheating, when they cheated all these votes in, they'd say, look, the polls said she was going to win by a large margin, and look, she did win by a large margin, but she didn't. The White Hats came in and interrupted the cheating.
That's right.
And I say, wow, if the White Hats could come in when they were outside the system, the Trump people, the military, that's who backs Donald Trump, if they came in when they were outside the system, were able to thwart the cheating and give him pretty much a distinct victory in the Electoral College, which I never did believe that she won the popular vote. I never believed that.
Because no way.
All the cheating, I never believed that. And I think cheating is pretty rampant. I mean, there are some people out there, and Eric Eggers wrote a book about all the cheating. There's one person out there says, one report that says they get like 20 to 30 house seats because of the cheating. Illegal voting. So if they're able to do that in 2016, what do you suppose, how much cheating and election fraud and voter fraud do you think they could stop if they're inside at the controls?
Right. And that goes along with what God was showing me, because I think I even said this on one of your shows, is that the Lord told me, he says, Mark, he says, we don't have as many blue zones or blue states as you think we do. He said, because it's all because it's being stolen. You look at anybody who's been in the House or the Senate for 20, 30 years, these people aren't staying in there. Look at what zone they're in. It's because it's being stolen. They're being bought and paid for by George Soros and his minions. So this is what's happening. So when the voter fraud is taken care of, I think you're going to, I was this close from prophesying that California was going to go red for Donald Trump. And I'm not so sure it didn't go red. It's just because of the voter fraud. I know for a fact Donald Trump won the popular vote, period, because I know what God's telling me. Because it was from the voter fraud that was the only way she won it, period. Now, when you take care of the voter fraud, the blue zones, I believe, would be cut probably in half. If I was, that's just my best guess. You would not see nowhere near as many blue zones. And I think you're going to see California go red. And when it does, they're done.
I think there's about 18 million Republicans in California in a state of 38 million. So the advantage they have out there is a couple of million. I mean, and they need the cheating. I mean, listen, I think you can't. What are they going to? They're going to run on what? We're going to raise your taxes. we're going to fire all the ICE agents. We're going to open all the borders. We're going to have sanctuary cities and protect criminal aliens, and we're going to protect foreign nationals over citizens of America. I don't know how that works. To all the poor people, hey, listen, poor people, we're going to flood the zone with people to take your jobs.
Right,
oh, don't worry, we have some programs for you.
Right.
I mean, how in anybody in the world does anybody on the poor end of the scale, white, black, Hispanic, who's a citizen of America, how are they thinking that's going to help them?
Yeah, I don't know, but keep a very close eye on California, Texas, and Florida right now, because I've been saying this from day one, especially Texas and California. Look for certain events to take place, possibly if we're not careful. So we need to be praying for these two states because they know that Florida is the next biggest electoral college other than California. It's a swing state, and they're trying to capture Florida. They're trying to capture Texas. We've seen too many things happening in Texas right now.
Well, they just won in Texas the voter ID law. They just won a big victory
right.
in Texas.
Right. So that's great. Which should be nationwide, honestly. But the fight is on for these states right now, the ones who are captured the largest amount of electoral college votes, because they know they lost those electoral college votes. So now what they have to do is they got to steal them somehow. So keep your eye on stuff happening. It could be false flags, whatever the case may be going on in these states, because it's retaliation. It's to try to get the people to submit, and it's not going to work. It's not going to happen.
You are a big one on talking about being negative, and I got to admit, Mark, sometimes I am too negative. I don't know. I mean, I just report the news and stuff, but I just want people to be informed, and that's a positive if you're informed.
Well, you have to be informed. You have to be informed. You have to be informed because you have to know how to pray.
Well, then tell us about what you think about being positive. Let's end this thing on a positive. We're going about 30-something minutes, but you're a good guy for talking about you. You're one of the few people that say, listen, you got to be positive. This is a good thing happening.
Right. Absolutely.
So just talk to everybody about what they should be praying, what they should be thinking, their frame of mind as a Christian.
Okay. As a Christian right now, we don't need to be walking in fear. We need to be walking in faith. Those that have gone before us right now have been praying for what's happening, and they don't get to see it. We are the ones that get to see this actually come to pass, that God is going to remove the corruption. He's going to set the spiritually oppressed peoples of the earth free. And we get to witness this. We get to be a part of this. So when the arrests start to go down, he may declare martial law, Greg.
No, it's going to be rough. I agree.
He may declare martial law, and that's going to scare a lot of people, just like the emergency broadcast testing that the president was fixing to do. Notice he was doing that 30 minutes after Kavanaugh's confirmation.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody, you know what I mean?
Confirmation hearing. He hasn't been confirmed yet.
Yeah, right. He was going to do that, but that got moved now, I think, to, I don't know when it was, October 3rd or something like that. I don't know when it's going to be now. So, but the point being is don't allow this stuff to give you a fear-based mindset. We need to be walking in faith. God has spoken. Look at the prophetic words. He's spoken what's coming. He hasn't given us details yet as to how it's going to happen, but there's going to be probably a rough few months when they're rounding these people up, the civil unrest, whatever the case may be, possibly martial law. So stock up on some food like you would with a hurricane or natural disaster, whatever the case may be. Just be prepared. And when we come out of this, the corruption will be removed, and we will be a much better place for it. This has to happen, folks. So don't walk in fear, walk in faith. Know that God is in control. This is all part of God's plan.
Ooh, I like that. That's very good. Before we go, I wanted to talk about this. Your book has been turned into a movie, and I just want to bring up I started looking at the reviews, and I thought, anonymous sources from Liberty University, anonymous.
Right.
It's just terrible. It's the worst thing ever. It can't come on. The book is super popular. The book did way high, big sales on Amazon. I mean, it's the worst thing. It's anonymous. Anonymous. Well, listen, tell you what. I got 10 anonymous sources that say otherwise. I win.
Right.
I mean, that's not. Don't believe the devil's attacking you. That's what I guess I get now. I mean, they are attacking you. They don't want anybody to come out and see this. Talk about your movie. If they want to come out and see the Trump prophecies, the movies, which I got to tell you, the book and. I mean, you compare, or at least I do, Orlando. You think, oh, Orlando, Disney World. It's just so beautiful and fanciful and magical, and like Mogadishu is magical.
Yeah.
I mean, you have suffered from PTSD, the stress, the brutal stuff, the fires, the deaths, the car accidents. You wouldn't know that Orlando was such a rough city, at least for a first responder to live in, and you were there. And you were there for 20 some odd years. That's part of the backstory. It's fabulous. But talk about your movie, The Trump Prophecies. It's done by Liberty University. Talk about it.
Right.
When does it air? Well, tell me how you can go see it.
They can go to the TrumpProphecyMovie.com. It's a Fathom event. You can type in your zip code and it'll tell you which theaters are playing around you.
Very good.
It's October 2nd and the 4th. So, the Lord said, have this, 30 days before the midterms. And there's a reason we're having this 30 days before the midterms is to help out with the midterms, period. Which is another important point. Go out and vote, please. And so, but the movie is based upon the Trump prophecy book. Kind of my backstory as a firefighter, what happened, how the Trump prophecy came about, and leading into a national prayer movement, which ultimately ended up with God performing a miracle November 8th, keeping the most evil person out of the White House and bringing in a man of righteousness, Donald Trump. Period. Most people were looking for a preacher to be in there. Most Christians were. God wasn't giving us a preacher. He was giving us a president, period. So, so that's where most Christians fail a lot of times with some of this. But anyhow, it'll be out October 2nd and the 4th. It's playing in 1,200 theaters nationwide. So I think it'll be a great movie for people to see. It'll be an encouragement to people. So come out and see it.
Mark Taylor, the author, co-author of the Trump Prophecies. That's the book, the movie of the same name. I'll put the trailer up. I'll put stuff up. Actually, I put the trailer up because I promoted you in the Weekly News Wrap-Up, and I found the trailer and I put it up. It's very compelling, frankly. The book is very compelling. If you haven't gotten the book, you should read it. It's more than just the prophecies are free. You can get the prophecy. You're on your what is it? On Sword Rescue? Where is it?
Swordrescue.com, which is spelled SORD rescue.com. They can print off all my prophecies for free. They were on my website for free before I ever wrote the book. They can just print them off, pray over them. Use them as a prayer if you want to.
And you'll send me the link for that too, and I'll make sure you have the free prophecies. But the book, the backstory in the book is pretty riveting. I thought, well, how could this? When I first got it, I mean, I like you, and I think you, you correctly predicted a bunch of stuff that's coming true. The military tribunals, the victory for Donald Trump, and the backstory in this is really quite the national prayer movement for national prayer that happened every day. Was pretty amazing. As much stuff I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Well, we still have the national prayer going. I mean, I've got two groups that I'm affiliated with, which is the StrikeForceOfPrayer.com and then Rockin' the West Coast Prayer.com, which is two groups that I'm affiliated with. So they're still going on almost 5 days a week right now. So there's a lot of people still praying for this country, for this president right now, and what's about to go down.
What's the Bible say? Pray and he will hear you.
He will heal your land.
And he will heal your lands.
Absolutely.
Yep, that's right. I mean, we're all sinners. I mean, I tell people all the time whenever I say, listen, I'm a sinner. I'm not any better than anybody.
Right.
So I'm a sinner, but I just have the grace of Christ. So anyway,
absolutely,
which anybody can have.
Anybody can have.
That's a wide open club.
Absolutely.
It's a big club, and anybody can join.
Yep, come on down.
That's right. Okay, Mark Taylor, the retired firefighter, Trump Prophecies. Mark, thanks for joining us today on USAWatchdog.com and give us a potpourri update of what's going on and what we can expect. Love your brain. And I say your prophecies, I know they came from God. I know they're not yours. So when I say your prophecy, I mean from God, that you were the mouthpiece of the prophecy. So, and I know you say the same thing over and over again. They're not yours. Right. So anyway, all right. Mark Taylor, the Trump Prophecies, the movie out in early October. All the links will be in the after the interview section on the website. So you folks at YouTube, you can go to the right through, and all links are at USA Watchdog. Go to the after the interview section. You'll have the prophecies. You'll have the movie trailer. You'll have how you can sign up for this, where you can punch in the zip code, where you can find out where it is. Mark Taylor, thanks for joining us today on USAWatchdog.com.
Thank you for having me, Greg. It's always an honor to be back.